The truth about what happened with Lady Di. What was the real cause of her death? Princesses have a special magnetism to captivate the public, and none have been more charismatic than Diana, Princess of Wales. Her arrival in a glass coach at St. Paul's Cathedral for her wedding to Charles, Prince of Wales, made millions of British and women around the world sigh as they saw in her the symbol of the girl who achieves her dream prince. The saddest thing is that a marriage for love never appeared. The couple divorced in 1996, and a year later, Diana lost her life in a traffic accident that shocked the world, opening the way for countless conspiracy theories. In this video, we will remember the last minutes of Lady, one of the most beloved royal figures in history, and review the different conspiracy theories that arose around her tragic death. Before we delve into it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate notifications to stay up to date with our updates. The final journey of Diana, Princess of Wales. On the last trip of her life, Diana left the Ritz Hotel in Paris shortly after the beginning of August 31, 1997, aboard a Mercedes-Benz S280. She was accompanied by her boyfriend, Dodi Al Fayed, son of Egyptian magnate Mohammed Al Fayed, who owned Harrods department stores and the Ritz Hotel. The driver of the car was Henri Paul, head of security at the Ritz, and the bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones was also in the car. The vehicle left the back of the hotel through the Rue Ambone, surrounded by paparazzi, heading to Dodi's apartment. Diana and Dodi were in the back seats, and the bodyguard was in the front seat next to the driver. Following Dodi's instructions to try to evade their pursuers, the car traveled through Rue de Rivoli, Place de la Concorde, Rue Georges Pompidou, and the parks Cours de René and Cours Albert, and headed towards the underpass of the Alma Square. At 12:23 a.m., Paul lost control of the Mercedes in the Rosso underpass. Another vehicle cut in, causing a 19-meter skid before brushing against a pillar, then a 32-meter skid before colliding head-on with the third support column. The Mercedes spun nearly 180 degrees, struck a wall of the tunnel, and stopped in the middle of the lane. The car was traveling at an estimated speed of 105 km per hour in an area restricted to 50 km per hour. The first to arrive at the scene were the paparazzi. Photographer Ramon Rat tried to pull Diana out of the vehicle. The princess, beloved by the British and a worldwide media figure, was lying on the floor of the car, leaning against the passenger seat with her back to the door. Her right leg was folded under her body, her left leg was raised over the seat, and her chin was resting on her lap. Dodi Al Fayed's shattered left leg was resting on her lap. Unable to extract the princess, who was dying because her right foot was trapped in the seat, the paparazzi decided to wait for the arrival of the firefighters. Diana and Dodi died as a result of the accident, while Paul died as well, but Rees-Jones survived despite multiple injuries. Paul was drunk at the time of the accident. The death of Princess Diana was a spy. There were two official investigations, one in France as the location of the event and another by the United Kingdom. Both concluded that Diana died as a result of the accident, as reported by the media at the time, and the French sentence exonerated the paparazzi, indicating that they were at a certain distance from the Mercedes S280. In the UK, the trial issued a verdict of involuntary manslaughter by driver Henri Paul and the photographers who were chasing the vehicle. However, some media outlets, including the Daily Express, as well as billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed, father of Diana's boyfriend, rejected the verdicts, stating that Diana and Dodi had been victims of a conspiracy. In 2003, Paul Burrell, Diana's butler, published a note supposedly written by Diana in which she alleged that her ex-husband, Prince Charles, was planning a car accident to kill her. In 2004, in response to the emergence of dozens of conspiracy theories about Diana's death, the Metropolitan Police in London opened an investigation known as Operation Paget to investigate them. One of the first to be mentioned in the conspiracy theories was the driver of the car in Ripoll, who was identified as an agent of a secret intelligence service, possibly from France, the UK, or the U.S. The evidence against Paul was a large amount of money he had in his bank accounts and in cash, and Al-Fayed claimed that he was an agent of the British MI6. However, the Bayern investigation found no links between Paul and any national security service. According to the French investigation, blood tests showed that Paul was drunk with an alcohol content 3 times above the legal limit in France, but it was claimed that this result was inconsistent with the behavior of the driver, who seemed sober. To clear up any doubts, another examination was carried out using Paul's vitreous humor, concluding that he was not only drunk but had also consumed antidepressants. During the French investigation, former MI6 spy Richard Tomlinson made a sworn statement claiming that the British Secret Intelligence Service was involved in the accident and had documents proving it. Tomlinson had been expelled from the UK Secret Service and imprisoned for 6 months in 1997 for violating the British Official Secrets Act by detailing his career in MI6. An Australian editor intending to publish a book told Mohammed Al-Fayed that the accident bore similarities to a planned assassination of Serbian President Slobodan Milosevic in 1992 using a strobe light to reach the driver and make him lose control of the car. He added that this method was part of the MI6 training program. Operation Heath had unprecedented access to the offices of MI6 and MI5, the Domestic Security Service, but did not find the documents mentioned by Tomlinson. The Metropolitan Police investigation ultimately dismissed Tomlinson's accusations, and the former British spy was arrested in 2006 by French authorities during his own investigation, resulting in the seizure of his personal documents and computer files. Another theory put forward as a possible cause of the possible murder is the conspiracy of the British royal family for a possible Muslim son. It was suggested that Diana was expecting a child with Dodi and that they planned to marry, something that the British monarchy could not tolerate since the mother of a future king of the UK would be related and have had a child with a man of a different religion than the Anglican Church, of which the monarch is the highest representative. In 2008, Mohammed Al-Fayed accused Prince Charles of Wales, his father the Duke of Edinburgh, and Diana's sister, Sarah Marco Cordero, of being the architects of the plot to kill his son and his girlfriend. This theory implicating the British royal family in Diana's death was backed by the Executive Intelligence Review, a well-known American magazine. Al-Fayed declared that Diana and Dodi were planning to announce their engagement on September 1, a day after the accident, and that his son had already purchased the engagement ring. However, Operation Paget disregarded this statement, considering that no evidence was found in the days leading up to the accident that such a world-shattering announcement was being prepared. CCTV footage showed that Dodi was in the Repossi jewelry store on the Place Vendôme on August 30, but apparently only had a brochure in his hands when he left. Diana also did not mention the alleged wedding announcement in a conversation she had the day before her death with her friend, journalist Richard Key, who informed her about gossip in the media regarding her. In addition, Sheriman Concord testified that she spoke with her sister 2 days before the accident and had the impression that the princess love affair was not going well. Other people close to Diana, such as her butler Paul Burrell, her spiritual advisor Richard Rogers, and her friend Annabelle Goldsmith, agreed that the lady had no plans for a new marriage at that stage of her life. A week before her death, Diana allegedly told Goldsmith, "I need a marriage as much as a rash on my face." Pakistani surgeon based in London, Hasnat Khan, who dated Diana between 1995 and 97, stated that he never perceived any harassment from the royal family and said he did not believe that royalty or the government had anything to do with the accident. It was also noted that Diana and Dodi had only known each other for 7 weeks and, according to their schedules and itineraries, could only have been together for 23 days. Furthermore, 17 days before the accident, American model Kelly Fisher declared at a press conference that Dodi had left her for Diana after they had been engaged, announcing a £340,000 lawsuit for breach of contract. She also claimed that Dodi had broken up with her on August 7 because the Egyptian millionaire had 2 girlfriends for a time. John McNamara, a former detective of Scotland Yard hired by Mohammed Al-Fayed for his particular investigation, stated in 2008 that he had found no evidence of murder conspiracies or Diana's pregnancy. Another denial of the pregnancy came in 2004 when Dr. John Vorster said in an interview with The Times that he had attended the post-mortem examination of Diana's body at the Fulham London morgue and was able to confirm through an examination of the uterus that she was not pregnant. Operation Paget conducted an analysis of the blood residue left by Lady Di in the car, finding no presence of the HCG hormone common in pregnancy. Similarly, interviews with women in Diana's inner circle revealed that she was maintaining her menstrual cycle and continuing to take contraceptives. Speculation about a possible pregnancy arose in the summer of 1997 when a photo of Diana in a leopard skin swimsuit showed a slight curvature in her belly. However, the photo had been taken before she began her relationship with Dodi, where the pregnancy was first mentioned by Mohammed Al-Fayed in May 2001. Many people found it strange that he had waited almost 4 years to speak about such an explosive topic. Myra Daniels, Dodi's personal masseuse who also worked with Diana and accompanied the couple on their travels, presented another testimony to clarify the possible pregnancy. Daniels told Operation Paget, "They have been asking me whether Diana was pregnant or not. I can say with 100% certainty that she was not. I can explain why I am so sure of this fact. First, she told me herself that she was not pregnant. Second, when you have as many years of experience as I do with caring for women's bodies, there are many indicators that show whether a woman is pregnant or not. It is incomprehensible that Diana would have allowed me to perform such an invasive treatment on her stomach and intestines if she believed she was pregnant." The surveillance cameras conspiracy. The lack of images of the vehicle by the group of cameras between the hotel and the place of the accident has been pointed out as evidence of a conspiracy, according to The Independent in 2006. There were about 14 cameras on the route, including some in the vicinity of Alma Bridge, and none captured images of either the Mercedes or the collision. When Judge Hervé Stephan was appointed investigating magistrate in September 1997, he tasked the Parisian Brigade Criminelle with inventorying the cameras along the car's route. The police inventory identified the existence of 14 cameras along the route, but almost none were relevant to the investigation. They were residential devices focused on the entrance of buildings, operated by residents and not by any city authority. Only one camera controlled by the Parisian Urban Traffic Unit was intended to monitor traffic on the underground passage but did not record images of the accident. It should be noted that in 1997, it was not as common as it is today to monitor city traffic with cameras. In the book Diana, Death of a Goddess by David Cohen, a photograph allegedly taken shortly after the car entered the tunnel is presented, but it was later proven to have been taken as the car was leaving the Ritz Hotel from the rear. The conspiracy of the mysterious white Fiat. Laboratory tests on the remains of the crashed vehicle revealed that it had come into contact with a white Fiat Uno, and traces of paint were found on the Mercedes. Then a search for the white Fiat Uno began, in which the French police ruled out 4,000 cars without finding anything. In 2005, Al-Fayed declared that the Fiat Uno had caused the accident by touching the Mercedes to force it to swerve and crash, and he pointed out that its owner was a photojournalist named Jean-Paul James Andanson, a secret agent who had died and who had been commissioned to do the job by MI6, according to the Egyptian millionaire. Al-Fayed said that he had committed suicide due to feelings of guilt, or that he had been murdered by MI6 and French security services to silence him. Operation Paget investigated the matter of the Fiat and concluded that Andy Anson's vehicle was 9 years old, had 325,000 kilometers on it, and was in very bad condition in 1997. The English police also found no links between the photojournalist and any intelligence service. In the end, The authorities believed that the final victim of the accident was Andy Anson and thought that the real driver did not come forward for fear of getting caught up in a legal process. They also believed it was pointless to continue searching for the Fiat given the several years that had passed since the accident. In 2008, a retired officer from the Criminal Investigation Department, SoundCloud Mails, stated that Andy Anson had been questioned in 1998 during the search for the Fiat Uno and had provided evidence that cleared him of involvement in the accident. Andy Anson's widow later said that she and her husband were in bed at the time of the collision at their home in Lignières, over 280 kilometers from Paris. The Bright Flash Conspiracy. The first to point out that driver Henri Paul had been blinded by an intensely bright light that made him lose control of the car was former secret agent Richard Tomlinson, but he was a witness of little credibility. However, 3 other witnesses said they had seen a bright light, with the most categorical being François Lebest, a driver who was in front of the Mercedes. He said he saw an intense flash in his mirror, although his statements were somewhat contradictory with those of his wife who accompanied him. Lebest was not a very reliable witness as he had been in prison for fraud 8 years earlier. An American tourist named Brian Anderson also said he had seen a bright light. Other witnesses did not mention any light. Investigators thought that the powerful flash of a strobe light would have also affected other drivers, including those of the paparazzi who were following the couple. Even pedestrians from both ends of the underpass would have perceived the light. With all these elements, Operation Paillette dismissed the conspiracy theory of the bright light. However, this hypothesis became the one that the public gave the most credibility to. According to later surveys, the seatbelt conspiracy theory emerged after the accident, pointing out the strangeness of Diana and Dodi not wearing seatbelts in a car traveling at high speed. Apparently, Lady Di was a regular user of the mechanism and her sister Sarah declared that she religiously put on her seatbelt. Seatbelt conspiracy theorists pointed out that they had been sabotaged so that the chances of the vehicle's occupants surviving the accident were lower. Not wearing seatbelts made things much worse, and it is possible that Diana and Dodi would have survived if they had been secured. A report presented by CNN in September 1997 concluded that the couple's injuries would not have been fatal if they had been wearing seat belts. After the vehicle's remains were sent to England in 2005, forensic experts established that all seat belts were in good working order, except for Lady Di's seat belt. The English consulted the French, who said that in their investigation of the accident, all seat belts were functioning. The English thought that the damage to Diana's seatbelt probably occurred during the maneuvers with the car's remains after the accident. Finally, the English investigation only concluded that not wearing seatbelts contributed to the deaths of Diana and Dodi. The conspiracy of the body transport. The accident occurred shortly after midnight on August 30, turning into August 31, and the first emergency call was registered at 12:26 a.m. Diana arrived at the Petit-Salpêtrière Hospital at 2:26 a.m. The 1 hour and 40-minute gap between the emergency call and arrival at the hospital was a very wide margin of time to speculate about a conspiracy. Certainly, 100 minutes seem like too much time and do not speak very well of the emergency response capability of Paris services 25 years ago, but many things happened during that time. Police officers Sébastien Dorsey and Line Cambiador were not the first to arrive at the scene of the accident, arriving at 12:30 a.m. Firefighters Javier Gong Overland and Filippo Jr. arrived 2 minutes later. The on-call doctor, Jean-Marc Marty, did not arrive until 12:40 a.m., and Diana was removed from the vehicle at 1 o'clock in the morning, suffering a cardiac arrest. Her heart started beating again after resuscitation, and she was put in the ambulance at 1:18 a.m. The ambulance left the tunnel at 1:41 a.m., and the doctor ordered it to drive no more than 10 km per hour, concerned that the vehicle's accelerations and decelerations would affect Diana's weak blood pressure. The doctor even ordered a stop at the Austerlitz Bridge due to a drop in blood pressure. With all these problems, the ambulance arrived at the hospital at 2:26 a.m. It was questioned why the ambulance did not stop at the Hotel U, the closest and oldest hospital in Paris, but the decision to go to the Petit-Salpêtrière hospital was made after consultation with medical authorities because of the greater resources it offered for Diana's injuries. The embalmers' conspiracy. Al-Fayed said that Diana's body was embalmed shortly after her death to deliberately obscure any further investigation. On the particularly hot summer day of August 31 in Paris, the air conditioning in the room where the body lay was insufficient to keep it cool. Therefore, the embalmer John Moss recommended that the British consul proceeds with the embalming, which was carried out without complying with the bureaucratic steps established by French law. Although these were subsequently fulfilled, the legal violation led to further questioning of the procedure. The Special Air Service conspiracy. In 2013, during a court-martial against SAS sniper Danny Nightingale, a letter written by a witness identified as Soldier N was presented. This soldier had been Nightingale's roommate and was in prison for hiding weapons and ammunition. In the letter addressed to his in-laws, Soldier N claimed that the SAS was behind Diana's death. Scotland Yard and the Royal Military Police launched investigations into Soldier N's revelations and his in-laws, but by the end of 2013, they concluded that there was insufficient evidence to reopen the case of Princess Diana's death. In his book Diana, The Last Word, journalist Gordon Rayner says that an industry formed around Diana's death with all kinds of opportunists seeking to profit from the grief and millions of a devastated father, always willing to investigate and finance any theory that mentioned Diana's death as a result of a conspiracy, or if it was simply one of the hundreds of thousands of road accidents that occur every year in the world. We hope this video has been useful to you. If you have anything to add, please share it with us in the comments section. Like this video and share the link with your family and best friends so they can also learn more about the truth of what happened to Lady Di, what was the real cause of her death, and the conspiracy theories. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe.